Hey there, and welcome to the A.D.K Rock and Metal channel. Today I'm doing an album or an EP review, which today is an album review today. And we're checking out Spirit Mother, and the album is Trails. It comes out on the 13th of September, and it is a 10-track album. Now, the way we do this here is we split the albums up between the different hosts on the channel, so we take our genres that we tend to cover. The way I like to do mine is I don't read the PR press releases before I listen to the album. I listen to the album multiple times all the way through, make my notes, write down what I think about the album as a whole. I don't do song by song breakdowns, because you're gonna either, if you're into this sort of style of music, when I give you an overall vibe of the album, you're going to take your own impression. Me telling you about the thunderous echoing drums with the distortion and blah 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 blah, yada yada yada. No one gives a shit about that. So you just want to know if most people just want to know, is it worth your time to go and check out? And we're going to get to that. I am going to look at the press release, but I'm going to do it at the end because I haven't even read the press release yet, and so we're going to do that together. And I'm going to call out whether I think it's bullshit and the PR company is talking out their backsides and have over-exaggerated things, or have they been really honest in their press release? So without further ado, let's get the press release. Okay, there we go. So we have it here. I'm going to put that to one side for a second. I'm going to come back to it. Let me have a slurp of my coffee, because it's early morning here over at the ADK HQ. And let's get started. So as I said, it's a 10-track album. Or is it? It's actually a 9-track. So the first track on the album is an intro track. And I have a problem with that. Some people absolutely love it. If you're listening to an album from start to finish, it sets the agenda. Now, if this track is used live to go into track number 2 on the album, then just put it as track 1, just combine the two. If it is used as your intro to go on stage, I kind of understand it, but it's more of a stage performance. It's not really needed on an album. I find that anything that has to be put on an album as an intro to take you into the second track on the album should just be put together, and then if live you can always cut it. But some people absolutely love intro tracks. For me, it's a big no-no, and really just pisses me off, to be quite honest, and that can put me in a bit of a bad mood for the rest of the album. But I didn't let this get to me on this one, because I do listen to the album multiple times. So what's this album like? Well, it's a bit fuzzy, isn't it? It's a bit doomy and a little bit proggy. So you've got some doom in there, you've got some prog metal in there. I love the vocal delivery in there. There's a real eeriness. I was trying to think of the words I wanted to use. Is it eerie? Is it a little bit twisted? I couldn't really reference on a similar vocalist that came to mind. There is elements of like the Tool-esque vocal delivery in there, but I mean, bands, as I was listening to this, so normally what I tend to do is, as I listen to the album, I will kind of think about bands that I can hear influences of. That's kind of how I work, and this is where it gets even harder for me to work out, because these are the bands that I listed as I went through this album. Therapy, Smashing Pumpkins, Paradise Lost, Filter, The Beatles, and Pink Floyd. Now that is an eclectic mix of bands to come out of this particular album. But I think it's a rightful mix, because you really do get a whole range of emotions, and I think this is where this album really works, because it's a very textured album. There is a lot of layers to it, and you are rewarded by repeat listening to this one. So the more you listen to it, the more you really understand what this band's trying to get across. It is a journey, this album, for me, and that's where I think the intro track then does make sense. This is an album that is designed to be listened to as an album, in my viewpoint. This is not a Spotify single track random playlist. I don't think it works in that context. I think you should listen to this from start to finish, 10 tracks, bam, 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 without any other distractions, and fully immerse yourself in this album, because it's actually a really good album. There isn't a standout track. That is the one thing I will say. So there isn't a natural, oh, this is the single, this is the one that you're going to go after, because I don't think this is how the band has approached it. I think they've gone into this with writing a very conceptualized series of music or musical endeavors that takes you somewhere, and I like that. I like they've put that thought into this. So yeah, if you're into fuzzy doom prog, I think if you're into anything like that, that's a little bit more melancholy. You're not like metalcore, death metal, that sort of stuff. If you're open to sort of stoner rock, doom, progressive metal, as I said, sort of a little bit alternative as well. Definitely got to check this album out. Now, we need to read the PR press release before I do the scoring. I'll take you through the scoring in a second. Let's have a look at what it is. Who was the press release? Purple Sage PR. Okay, this is the first one I've done with Purple Sage, so let's have a read of it. Okay, here we go. Get it ready. Get ready. Sounds like we're about to do a movie trailer. Get it ready this summer for the compelling and brooding heavy rock of Spirit Mother. Okay, their new album and HPS debut, Trails, brings the energy of the US foursome's visceral, all-in live performances, okay, while expanding on the sensibilities of their debut album, Cadets, with darker tonality, heavier fuzz-fueled riffs, relentless rhythms on top of the rich songwriting and arrangement. I'll actually give you all of that, to be quite honest. There's a few things in there that you could kind of visceral, all-in live performances. That's subjective, in my opinion. But the rest of it, the darker tonality, the fuzz-fueled riffs, yeah, that I did pick all that out, so yeah. The violin summons an atmospheric pedestal of the remaining power trio to wield with fervor, while Armand Lance's haunting vocals and stark lyricisms interspersed with instrumentals with a melody as dynamic as it is accessible. Okay, you're starting to lose me now. The problem is when you start word spiraling like that, you start going off on one a bit. Classy and dark indie meets psych meets kraut meets post-rock on this beauty of it. And again, look, I mean, if you really break that down, classy, dark, indie, psych, kraut metal, post-rock, it kind of, yeah, I mean, if you talk about the bands I referenced there, there's pretty much, that would cover most of those. And this album, which would easily find its way on playlists with Helms Alley, don't actually know that one, The Jesus and Mary Chain, Young Widows and Spotlights, and Trails is out on September the 13th. Okay. It's actually a good press release. It does actually pretty much, it's a little bit long-winded at points, but it's actually a good press release from Purple Sage PR. Quite like that. Okay, so scoring. Now we have a 4-tier scoring system. We have our headliners. We have down below that, we have our main support, we have our opening band, and then we have back to rehearsal studio if you're not ready to be doing an album. So where do we put Spirit Mother and the Trails? We are going to put them, I'm actually going to put this as headliner. I think it's a very good, interesting album. There are the odd little bits in there, but generally out of 10 songs, my general rule is if you were to get into out of the openers, and into the main support, you need to have at least between 50 and 75% of the album needs to be strong. If you've got more than 75% of your album is strong, then you get into the headliners category, and actually in this case there definitely was. There may be one or maybe two odd tracks that didn't really quite cut it to me, but as a whole, as a journey, it's a really good album, and I would definitely recommend it if you're into fuzzy, prog, alternative, doomy stuff. Check this band out because it's well worth the experience. Now, if you enjoyed the video today, please do like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you on the video sometime very soon. Take care.